Welcome everybody, I'm Rose Smith from AbsoluteSoulSecrets.com. Thanks for joining me today. I've got the April astrology overview. Well, you'll be going, thank God March is over. March has been a very difficult month with so many planets going into Aries, but some of those are in retreat. Mercury's already retrograde, Venus is retrograde, and so they've gone back, or they're going back into Pisces in April. So we have a lot of energy going on, but it's a bit of a sigh of relief for many people. I think it won't be as full on as what March has been. If you find this useful, please leave a comment and a like. That would be great. Subscribe and be alive. Let's go to the board right now. And here's the horoscope for April. I just want to show you something first. So these are sort of like my notes. And something very unusual is happening, because you'll see all these blue circles. These are relating to conjunctions. So we don't normally have anywhere near that number of conjunctions. So yeah, it's full on in terms of the blending of the energies, but it's a lot happening in the 12th house for Aries, which means a lot of stuff is under the covers, so to speak. So you'll notice this green aspect pattern here, minor grand trine, and this is very favorable for all of the signs. You'll have these in different houses. Of course, this focus point for Aries is in the second house of finances, but this focus point will, or focal point, will change depending on your star sign, which area of your life is going to be affected. So you need to come to my website to read my very super in-depth horoscopes for every zodiac sign. But let's have a look in greater detail. So welcome and thanks for coming along. The cosmic tides are turning, as I've mentioned. There's a 4-way conjunction in Pisces, 4, 5, well, Neptune's here in another house, but it's still conjunct Mercury, and Mercury will be turning, and well, in April it's already turned and it's going backwards, and then it will come forward again. So first I'm going to draw 2 tarot cards as theme cards for the month before we get into your horoscope proper. So for the first half of the month, first half of April, I see a journal, a lot of writing. So communications is big for everybody. I also see lists, so there's lots to do. So even though things have calmed down from March, it's still pretty full on in terms of activity and busyness, but it's going more smoothly. You don't seem to have the same number of obstacles to deal with. The card, which one, I'm going with that one, is the 9 of Wands. You could be feeling quite tired. You've been on a journey, so to speak, and maybe now it's time for a little bit of a rest. You're nearly finished what you're meant to be doing. This chapter of your life is nearly over, but it's not quite. There's still a bit more to do, a bit more activity, a bit more work. Keep at it, you'll get there, but you'll soon be starting a new chapter. You might not feel as creative or invigorated now as you get to the end of this cycle, understandably so. We're all feeling a bit tired. And the second half of the month, what do I see? Oh, it's like a timber yard, or lumber. You call it lumber in the US, a lumber yard, a lot of trees being cut down. I think this is about work, actually. Things are moving, they're progressing, you're getting there, but again, I can still feel that sense of tiredness. The card that comes up is the Judgement card. Okay, this is always an interesting one, because it means you can observe things, but as soon as you attach an emotion to those observations, they become judgments. And those judgments, because they've got the electrochemical response of the emotion tied to them, they can trap you into a limited viewpoint. So do try to be open-minded, do try to examine the other person's side, just so you can understand things, but You might come to the conclusion, as try as you might, you just don't understand them. Just be careful not to get in too fixed a position where you attach an emotion. If somebody does something, it's fine to say they did this, this and this, they said this, this and this. What do I think about it? You might not agree with it. Just make sure you're not trapping yourself in that process. The angels are looking out over everybody, watching what is going on. There's some freedom. If you can step out of those judgments, there's some freedom for you. Major Arcana card, so fairly important. You can change your life if you can even just focus on not making too many judgments. We do make judgments as humans, but can we be free of those judgments to allow ourselves to be open-minded? Okay, let's make this a bit bigger. And where are we? Zoom board. You'll be able to see it better, I hope. And I'm going to move this card here. All right, let's look at your horoscope now. All right, so there's, like I said, there's still a fair bit happening, even though it's a breath of fresh air. So we've got Mercury and Venus retrograding back into Pisces, the four-way conjunction in Pisces as well. All of this happening here. Venus is governing love and creativity. Mercury rules over communication and also your thought processes. So there could be, with these two retrograde, there could be issues to do with relationships. And also Venus looks after finances as well, in the sense of she encourages you to buy beautiful things. Retrograde, just be careful those things are worthwhile, that you're not just willy-nilly spending money for no good reason. And it's also about love. Venus retrograde might impact your relationships, and not just with a spouse or partner, but they could be any kind of love relationship. Basically, it could be your children. And as I said, with Mercury combined, there can be misunderstandings, delays, but yeah, we'll get there. They'll be all over Red Rover. I'll go through them individually in a moment. Neptune went into Aries the end of March, and it's forming a minor grand trine with Mars in Cancer and Uranus in Taurus. And this is probably about an underlying sense of flow and ease, despite any deep emotions that might still be at play underneath the surface of your subconscious. So it's all about taking what you've learnt and using it to create meaningful change. On the 17th of April, there's also a lovely astronomical alignment with Venus, Saturn, Mercury and Neptune in the sky, and you won't be able to see Neptune, obviously, it's too far out, but Venus, Saturn and Mercury you might be able to see with the naked eye, but if you have a set of binoculars, that would be even better. You can see Neptune with a telescope, I believe. So that's the 17th if you want to have a look at that alignment. So starting the month, the 3rd of April, we see Venus conjuncting the North Node in Pisces. This is all about karmic relationships, destined encounters, and a realignment with what really matters to us in love and creativity. You might also draw people in or have experiences that seem strangely familiar, and if it is a sense of deja vu, go ahead and trust that feeling. The 5th of April sees Venus meeting Saturn in Pisces again, and this is all about grounding your emotional revelations into something physical. The universe is actually asking you, you've got this feeling or these energies, what do you want to do with them? It's a bit of a reality check in relationships and finances. It helps us to see where we need to set boundaries or commit more deeply in relationships. 7th of April, this is a big shift because Mercury is going direct in Pisces. If your communication's been foggy or delayed, expect to clear things up. It's especially relevant when dealing with misunderstandings, delays or tech issues. You might feel some sense of forward motion. You might feel like, oh, finally my life is moving forward, thank God. 13th of April is a big day. The Sun conjuncts Chiron in Aries. It's highlighting deep healing. It's going to bring up a lot of stuff, and you'll have realizations and insights about past matters. It could also be wounds, because Chiron is, after all, the wounded healer. but it is a chance to step into your power and release old pain. Then just hours after, we have the full moon in Libra. About that, a lot of websites are showing the full moon in Scorpio. I don't know why. I did actually go and check an ephemeris to double check that, and it is definitely, according to the ephemeris I used, it's definitely in Libra. I think what happens is maybe some website of authority or note has put the wrong thing and then everybody's copied it or something like that. I can't imagine why it's happened other than that. So it's full moon in Libra, which is totally different to the full moon in Scorpio. So it's all about relationships and your money and balancing your own needs with those of others. It could bring up some emotional revelations, decisions around partnerships. And also, this full moon is a micro moon, so it could appear slightly smaller than usual. It's further away, and so its effects may not be as strong as a normal full moon. April 14th, Saturn and the North Node meet in Pisces, reinforcing long-term lessons about fate, karma, and responsibility. This is a sobering but ultimately helpful energy that pushes us to align with our true purpose. So sometimes we get a bit scared, well, a bit sober about Saturn and the responsibility and obligations that it brings. And with the North Node, this is like your destiny or your future. These two combining, it's like you could be tied into something until, I think it's January 2026 that the nodes change sign, so the North Node will be gradually moving away. But at the moment, 24 degrees, 28 minutes, 26 degrees, 45, it's nearly 2 degrees, so it's not exact, but it's close. So there's a definite blending of energies, responsibility, also dealing with governments and large corporations as well, and it's like there's a fated thing that is going on, basically, where it pays to be diligent and not to cut corners, because there's something fated or karmic here with that. Then we have the 16th of April, Mercury enters Aries. Finally, expect some mental energy to pick up. No more drifting. Now it's about action. So it's left Pisces and it's in Aries proper, and so your conversations become more direct. You start thinking about the future and what you're doing now rather than looking back to the past. The 17th, a very dreamy day as Mercury conjuncts Neptune, a highly intuitive energy. It's great for creative pursuits, but watch out for confusion. If something seems too good to be true, double check the facts. Do be cautious about looking at people or even at communications themselves with rose-coloured glasses, because Neptune, although a very spiritual influence, it's also associated with delusion and illusion. You might think how something's going to go, but don't bet on it. Neptune's also the great dissolver, and things just sort of dissolve away under Neptune's energy. Then we have, on the 18th, Mars moving into Leo, and this is a fiery, bold and passionate energy. We feel more confident about taking action. It's fantastic for anyone who's been feeling sluggish or unmotivated. Mars in Leo brings back drive and energy to go after what we want. The 20th sees the Sun entering Taurus, shifting us into a more stable or practical energy. This marks the start of Taurus season. Happy birthday to all Taurians. This is about being grounded, persistent, and enjoying life's simple pleasures. The same day, Venus again conjoins the North Node and relationships are in focus. The 21st sees Mercury reaching its greatest western elongation. So this is when it's furthest from the Sun. If you were looking at the sky in the western, if you were looking at the sky in the morning, you might see Mercury there in the west. The 25th, a series of close approaches. Saturn will be near Venus, the Moon will be near Venus, Saturn and Neptune, which makes a beautiful sight if you're into going outside and looking at the planets. I do that sometimes. A new Moon in Taurus is a perfect time to set intentions for stability, abundance and self-worth. That's on the 27th. It's an earthy, practical new moon that supports long-term growth, okay? So it's looking much better than what March did with all that fiery Aries energy, and also Pisces having its last spurts of watery emotional times. But yeah, that's a great thing. I just want to check I've covered everything. Full moon in Libra I talked about, new moon Taurus, Mercury direct, Venus direct, Mercury in Aries, March in Leo, Sun in Taurus on the 19th. We're all good. Great way to start the month off with this minor grand triple, I guess you would, well, it's almost triple, minor grand trine, all of these conjunctions together. And we're moving forward. So have a little rest if you can, and then pretty soon when April turns the corner, you'll be feeling a bit better, have a bit more energy, and be cautious not to get too caught up in judgments. It's very easy to fall into the trap. I do it myself, and that's when you can feel all of the hype and carry on social media about things, and often it's with good reason too. I'm not saying it's not, but you've got to look after yourself as well, and sometimes it's overwhelming and it just gets too much. So you really got to take care of your own well-being. That's my message anyway. All right, thanks so much for listening, everyone. Have a great month in April, and I'm working on the April horoscope soon. I'm umming and ahhing about whether I'm going to continue them, however, on the website, because they are huge. They're usually 2,500 to 3,000 words, and it takes me a full week of work to do all the horoscopes. If I do any less, Google doesn't like them. Google likes them now, they're very long, but I'm just not getting the feedback or the click-through rate that I need to continue. So let me know if you're clicking through to the website, what you think about them, or whether you're not interested in them. That's valuable information for me to know. So that will help me make up my mind about whether I continue or not. Okay, have a great month. I'll catch you all soon and see you later. Bye for now.